Well, hello there, welcome beautiful shrimp people. In today's video we're going to explore what is the best plant for your cherry shrimp tankery. Let's have a look at my tanks and we'll explain why I think Java moss is the best plant to have in your shrimp tank. Guys, because Java moss isn't just a plant, it's a game changer, right? If you've never had Java moss in your cherry shrimp tank before, then yeah, I suggest you go out and find a source and buy it because it will make the world of difference to your shrimp survival rates in your cherry shrimp tanks. So throughout this video, guys, I'll also put up different images of my shrimp over the years as well that I've had on Java moss, and yeah, right now I have quite a lot of my tanks with Java moss in it already, so you'll see all of them. So let's dive next into why I think Java moss is the best choice for an aquarium shrimp keeper, and especially someone that's new and doesn't really know what they're doing with the tank, and they're in the basic stage but they just bought their cherry shrimp and they're wondering what plants should go into their tank. So the first great thing about Java moss is it's not demanding at all, right? It can survive in a wide range of conditions. It can survive in a wide range of pHs and water conditions in general, and that is perfect for most people because everyone in the world, we all have different water parameters, and Java moss is very adaptable to these conditions, right? So I've grown it well in soft water and hard water equally. Okay, so the second benefit of Java moss is it can grow in extremely low light, right? I'm not saying in complete darkness, but it can grow in low light conditions, right? And this is perfect for a beginner because everyone that starts out will often have the wrong equipment, will have maybe not even have a light, and Java moss will kind of still grow a little bit. And the guys, this is where Java moss excels, is in the right conditions it can thrive, right? So if you can make your Java moss thrive, then what you probably will see is your shrimp thriving at the same time. Third thing I love about Java moss is its dense structure. Guys, it's absolutely compact. It's a really small, stuffed implant, if you get what I mean. It is so compact. It's perfect for shrimp keeping because all these little nooks and crannies that you get in Java moss, they're just the perfect size for baby shrimp to crawl in and around and, you know, be a little bit protected from the bigger ones. And guys, one of the other benefits as well is all these little fronds that you see on Java moss, they'll all be covered in a little bit biofilm, right? So you have a lot of structure, you have a lot of surface area grown into the water and grown over each other and creating different layers like this that will provide your baby shrimp with tons and tons of food. That is why it's so popular with breeders. It's the perfect breeding plant for shrimp. And also, guys, because of its structure, because of its fan-like structure, and it kind of like overlays itself, it is perfect for catching anything that is floating past in the water. Right, so think of it like a spongy fan type deal with Java moss that's able to trap detritus and any free floating little bits that float in the water. And of course for our shrimp that is perfect because that is what they actually eat. They eat all these little microscopic things that you can't see that land on plants and whatever else, and things like Java moss have a big structure, big surface area, so the more surface area that you can get into a smaller tank, the more feeding area you'll have for your shrimp. The moss, of course, itself can also play a part in nutrient control. It can actually absorb nutrients from the water and take out harmful substances, which in turn leads to a healthier environment for our little shrimplets. It also adds oxygen to the tank, which is very beneficial for living organisms in the tanks that need oxygen just to survive. The other thing I love about Java moss as well is its ability to really attach itself to surfaces. I don't really know of another plant that can actually do it so well as Java moss, right? Java moss can adhere itself to things like wood, rocks. I've even had it attach itself to glass, right? So this plant it's just amazing to have in your shrimp tank. And of course, in the right conditions, it can grow into a nice green, lush carpet. I personally love the way it looks in a tank, as in I love the depth it gives to tanks. It has some light spots. You have your lush greenness of it, and then you have in between the greenness you have all the little dark spots, so there's a depth of field in a tank. I don't think there's anything better looking than a planted tank that has a lot of Java moss in it. Next, guys, I'm going to give you some tips on how to grow it. And that is, you basically need to give it good, clean water and sunlight. And that is basically, it's like throwing, you could literally throw a little piece of Java moss in a bucket of aquarium water that you've taken from a water change, and it will grow. As long as you give it light, it will grow. The other things I love about Java moss is that it's very easy to attach to things. You can use things like thread to tie your Java moss to a piece of wood, or you can use something like fishing line, which is also a good choice. Let's touch on why I haven't mentioned super glue there. I personally don't like to use super glue with Java moss because I think it makes it look a mess. In the beginning, when it dries, the super glue can go very white, and I think it just adds to the tank looking a little bit ugly, especially if your tank's not in its optimal condition as well. So you add your Java moss, you've super glued it to all your rocks or your wood or whatever else. So you just have all these little white spots everywhere in the tank, and it just doesn't look very nice. And the other things that you have to remember, guys, as well, is especially if you're adding Java moss with super glue to a tank that already has inhabitants, right, that this stuff is still wet when you add it to the tank, right? So there's a little chance that when you add your Java moss with your that's just been glued to your rock or piece of wood, there's a little bit of a chance that when you add it to the tank, if it's still soft when it hits the bottom and the shrimp or fish come up to it, there's a slight chance that they can grab it and they can glue whatever it is that they've grabbed it with together, right? So for example, I saw the other day online, it was, I think it was to do with saltwater aquariums. It was somebody had glued something to a rock and this little clownfish had went up to it and it tried to grab it, and inadvertently had super glued its mouth shut, and they had to try and do like this, some kind of surgery on this little fish to try and save its life and open its mouth again. So yeah, just be aware of that when you add super glue to the tank, that things can bite it and it can stick appendages together. So that is one of the reasons I don't like to use it. So let's go on to some tips. Let's talk to you about some tips that I know about growing Java moss. So the first one is you want to give it a lot of light, as we've talked about previously in this video. The other one is that you want to trim it occasionally, because if you don't, what tends to happen is Java moss likes to grow on top of itself like this in layers, and if you don't trim it back, what happens is the bottom layers start to get less light and they start to go yellow. I also personally notice that Java moss tends to do better in tanks that have slight water flow compared to barely any water flow. I'm not sure if this is a way in which the Java moss has evolved to uptake nutrients with its fan-like structure. What it does in the water exactly, I'm not sure. But I notice for definite that my Java moss grows better in tanks that have slight flow from my filters. Right? And for me, for example, guys, I have maybe 1 to 2 centimeters of flow in a tank like this going across all my Java moss and all my other plants in my tank. Guys, if you've enjoyed my little video today telling you what I think is the best plant for cherry shrimp tanks, Java moss is probably the best plant in general for all shrimp tanks. Please leave a comment below if you agree with me, or if dislike or like or whatever else. And guys, I'll see you all in the next one. Happy shrimp keeping.